Good afternoon. Welcome inside of Geisman Gymnasium for a conference matchup and a rematch that dates back to the conference tournament last year between the visiting Marian University Sabres and the Concordia University Chicago Cougars. If you can't tell, it's ugly Christmas Day here inside of Geisman. Carter Gledhill, Peter Borkowski with you on the Cougar Sports Network. Peter, this is a game that we talked about it with Coach Kohler a little bit earlier this week. It's a game that is just like every other for this team, but there is so much more riding on the line just because of what happened last year inside of this gymnasium where the Sabres, the number 5 seed in the conference tournament, came to town and upset the number 1 seed Cougars after winning the regular season title by a score of 52-49. I know there's a lot of players on this team for the Cougars that are returning that want a little redemption, and that win against the Sabres today.
Yeah, Coach Kohler talked about that. Even if they are treating this like just another game, which you kind of have to do, there are so many players from that year last year who felt that loss, who knew that that was a big upset, who are coming back this year. And it is a bit of a grudge match, whether they want to admit it or not. There's a lot riding on this game, just pride alone. And these are the only 2 undefeated teams left in the conference, too, so a lot riding on that standings-wise.
Well, let's take a look back at the last game for the Cougars. It was against IIT, and it was a win for the Cougars. That was ugly in the first half. They ended up pulling out the win by 15 points, 57-42. But if you were watching that game, there was one thing that was apparent from the beginning. The Cougars could not shoot the 3-pointers, and it was really a struggle that they had to correct at halftime. It wasn't a perfect and pretty win for the Cougars, but a win is a win in the books of Coach Kohler.
Halftime adjustments were really key in that game. 0 for 15 from three-point land in the first half. Turned it around in the second half, went 4 for 10. Field goal percentage jumped up as a whole. Shot 18% from the field in half number 1. That jumped up to 48% in half number 2. But Coach Kohler talked about it, especially regarding the three-point play, that this team can go 1 for 30 for all he cares from beyond the arc. As long as they find ways to pull out the win, that's all he cares about at the end of the day. And we saw that against IIT. The shooting wasn't pretty all game long, but they still found a way to come out with the W, remain undefeated on the year.
And Jordan Matthews had a big game. It was his first double-double of the season, 18 points and a career-high 14 rebounds. He's now scored 18 points in 3 straight games, and that is something that the Cougars going to rely on upon their senior guard, who has been playing very well so far this season. But now let's take a look at the Sabres. This is a team that went 0-3 in CCIW non-conference play, but in their last 3 conference games, they've been able to go 3-0, and it started with a big victory against the St. Norbert's Green Knights, and that was a game for the Sabres where they won 68-64. They rode on the back of one of their big-time players in Britain, and that's got to feel good coming inside a Geisman Gymnasium against an opponent that you know is going to be tough in the Cougars.
David Britton was big last game for the Sabres, 29 points. That's a season high for Britton, but he also scored 16 in last year's semifinals game. So this is an opponent that the Cougars are very familiar with, and you know they're going to have all eyes on this game. This is also an extremely well-shooting team, 45% from the field on the year and 43% from beyond the arc. This is just a good, efficient Sabres team who's going to get the Cougars' work cut out for them.
And the one thing for the Cougars is going to have to be the defense. We're going to talk about it in the keys to the game. I'll allude to it, but I'm going to send it over to you. What kind of keys do you see in play today? What's it going to be for the Cougars to take out that win against the Sabres today?
It's the 3-point ball. The Sabres are a great 3-point shooting team. Shot 57.7% from the 3-point land against St. Norbert's last game. And the Cougars, they're not one of the better 3-point defending teams. They're ranked 8th in the conference, so definitely not one of the worst, but kind of that middle of the pack. And sometimes it's just you can tell that they don't really, I don't know if this is maybe a little harsh, they don't really care about the 3-pointer. They're going to let you take those shots. They want you to beat them by just hitting those shots. If the Sabres get hot from 3-point land, though, it's going to be really, really big advantage for them. The Cougars got to step up their game defensively, 3-point.
Well, if we're going to see anything like it was in the semifinal game last year, it was a low-scoring affair, and the defense is going to have to come up big again for the Cougars, and it was the defense that kept them in that game against IIT. Coach Kohler said it in the Coaches Weekly. That first half could have been 19-5 if they weren't able to play defense, but they did. Forced a lot of turnovers. The Cougars were able to capitalize, and we're getting ready for a big-time game here today. Ugly sweater day, and the Cougars try to pull out another conference win, try to stay undefeated, 6-0 to start the season. We'll send it down to the court for starting lineups, and we'll have action inside of Geisman shortly. Lineups for both teams. We'll run it back one more time. First, for the visiting Marian University Sabres, Carson Talbert, Charlie Mendes, Josh Nicholas, Tyler Gowan, and David Britton. For the Cougars, Justin Greenlee, Brent Hatton, Jordan Matthews, Jacob Collicott, and Emmanuel Wilson. The Sabres wearing their all-black away jerseys with blue trim as well as gray. For the Cougars, all-white home with gold trim and maroon numbering. And these last two teams, when they met last in the semifinals last year, Cougars, the number 1 team in the conference tournament, upset by the number 5 team, the Marian University Sabres, 52-49. Redemption game for the Cougars. It is well early in the season still, but there is a lot on the line for both these two teams. Talbert and Hatton at center court, and the Cougars win the opening tip. Jordan Matthews coming off of an 18-point game, the leader for the Cougars offensively. He leads the team scoring with 17 points a game. Jacob Collicott inside, guarded by Tyler Gowan, but Collicott using his hops, getting up for the first points of the game.
Nice first possession from the Cougars. Go right at the Sabres defensively. Collicott, he's not that tall, but he's such a force in the paint due to his athleticism.
Talbert inside. Easy layup for him. Nobody in the paint for the Cougars. Hatton on the wing. Misses. Hits the shot clock. It'll be the Sabres' ball. And the thing about Hatton, too, he's not afraid to pull the trigger from outside. He's shooting 28% from 3, but we know from his early years with the Cougars, he is a guy that loves to shoot the 3 ball, but Coach Kohler loves him for his versatility and being able to use that 6'4" frame and go inside.
Hatton's just good from all over the court, 43% from the field, 29 from three-point land. And I talked about Hatton to Coach Kohler a few weeks ago, and Kohler said exactly what we just said, Carter. He's such a versatile player. He can do it in the post because he's big and physical, but he's also athletic enough to get it done on the perimeter.
Jacob Collicott called for the foul, the first for the Cougars. Sabres will inbound it on the baseline. Team averaging 71 points a game, their opponents 76. 3-3 record so far this season, 3 non-conference loss, and then 3 wins in conference. A turnover by Josh Nicholas, the senior from Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Sabres have their leading scorer from the semifinal game back on their side. David Britton, 16 points in the semifinal game. You talked about it in the pregame show, Peter. He had a 29-point game in the win against St. Norbert's College as Matthews fires up a 3. Cougars hit their first three-pointer of the game, and it comes at a good sign, too. Being able to go now 1 for 2, an early start, and get that under your belt after the debacle in the first half against the Scarlet Hawks.
I'm interested to see how the Cougars use the three-point ball this game. The reason that they had more success in that second half against the Scarlet Hawks is they were much more selective with their three-point shots. They weren't just chucking up the ball in the first couple seconds of the shot clock. Hopefully we see that trend continue today, because that's when the Cougars shoot best from three-point land.
9 seconds on the shot clock after the ball bounced off of Justin Greenlee's foot. Gowan, one-on-one with Hatton, step back, jumper from the elbow, a good shot. The senior from Heartland, Wisconsin.
16.7 points a game Gowan's averaging. Him and Britton make up the top scoring duo for this Marian team.
Hatton, open look, 3. Rattles in and out. Collicott fighting for the offensive board. Greenlee able to pick off the pass from Nicholas inside.
Nice save there by Greenlee.
Wilson swings it over to Hatton, passes up the open look. 18 seconds on the shot clock. Matthews step back, misses right side.
I don't know if that's the look Cougars were looking for. Matthews didn't really make a move on that, just a jumper 3.
Good defense by the Cougars. Greenlee. Hatton trying to get around Talbert. Loses it. Matthews able to pick it up. One-on-one the other way with Britton. Goes to the left side. Left hand. Doesn't fall.
Nice move by Matthews. Able to use his physicality to bounce off the defender. Just wasn't able to finish off the tough layup.
Mendes inside. 2 Cougars around. The offensive board from Talbert, and he puts it in. Sabres up 6-5 right now in the early minutes of the first half.
I think we're going to see Marian go to the paint a lot today. Cougars are not a strong paint team, not a big rebounding team either. So if you can get them into the paint, kind of play some bully ball, that's a way to beat this defense.
Another three from the Cougars. Greenlee misses it. Offensive board by Matthews. Strong inside and gets fouled on the way up. Foul called on Josh Nicholas, the first for the Sabres. Jordan Matthews leads his team with just under 6 rebounds a game, and it was his defensive effort in that win against IIT last week that gave the Cougars a lot more momentum in the transition. And again, Matthews not a tall guy at all, 6'1", but he's able to get inside and he plays that bully ball you were talking about.
Matthews is just such a strong player, like you said, a leading rebounder on this team despite not having the height. Let's make sure everything is in order before the next free throw. Matthews is just such a versatile player. You know, he doesn't always drop 20 a game, but he's a good assister, he's a good rebounder, a good defender. There's really not much Matthews can't do on the court.
Elijah White for the Cougars coming in the break, as well as Luke Rogers for the Sabres. Cougars back up by 1. Full court from Collicott, pressuring ball. Tyler Gowan spinning around, trying to look for some room and help. Able to get separation, stops on the block, but travels. And an interesting move I want to point out, Elijah White, the first player to come off the bench for the Cougars. He was more of a replacement for William Bishop Green when he started getting in trouble, and he was the first off the bench. But Coach Kohler talked about it in the Coaches Weekly. He's been earning his minutes. He's been competing. But as a freshman, he's still learning how to play the game.
Right. White doesn't exactly fill up the stat sheet every game, but he just does so many things well, and it's really his presence, especially in the low post. He's big, he's physical, he's hard to get around. If he cleans up some things, especially defensively, as Coach Kohler pointed out in that interview, he's going to be a dangerous player on this roster for hopefully the next 3-4 years.
William Bishop Green and Kieran Heller come in for Emmanuel Wilson and Jacob Collicott. Elijah White right now guarding Carlson Talbert. Britton, who's been quiet so far, skips it over. Cougars in a zone. Driving inside is Nicholas, and he gets swatted away. Elijah White in the paint, and that's the one thing Kohler, too, talked about is he needs to work on his defense. It's the getting over quicker in the paint, using his body and his frame inside. And right now he's going up against a 6'6 senior for Marian in Carson Talbert.
Well, we saw it right there. He's just able to get his body in the post, able to get up, just disrupt that shot. That's all that this team really likes to do. Again, they don't have a lot of height on the team, so they're just always in the right place, just making things extremely difficult for opposing offenses.
Contested jump shot from Gowan. Gowan now with 4 points. Bishop Green, his first touches offensively. Hand off to Heller. White, open look. And he hits it.
Nice three.
Elijah White coming into today, 2 for 7 from deep. Hits his third three-pointer of the season. Cougars now up 10-8, 15 minutes remaining in the first half. Another shot from Gowan at the free throw line. He's got such good handling abilities, and he's able to create that separation with the defenders, and that's something that Coach Kohler always preaches about, is getting on your man. Gowan doing the right thing, creating that separation.
Well, this is a Cougars defense built off of athleticism and speed, so it really is all about getting on ball quickly.
Matthews inside, left-hand finish. Head coach for Marian, Drake Diener, wanted a travel call earlier on in the possession. 5th season with the Sabres, played international ball before becoming a coach. And another tough shot by Gowan. White able to get a hand up in his face. Justin Greenlee the other way.
A great contest there from White. Exactly what we're talking about. Right on his man, able to jump up, at least propose a challenge to that shot.
Foul call on Akeemus Williams. First personal foul for him. Second for the Sabres. Emmanuel Wilson and Jacob Collicott come back into the game. 23 seconds on the shot clock for the Cougars. Elijah White to inbound, gets it up to Jacob Collicott. White inside. Misses. Tried to get around Talbert. That's going to be a matchup we'll be closely watching in this game.
Yeah, those are not the matchups with Talbert you're going to win when you don't have him moving, when it's really all about that post up. There's a nice hand from Heller. You got to get Talbert moving. You have to beat him with your footwork, your agility. You can't just rely on going up against him physically because, again, it's 6'6", and good wingspan. That's going to be hard to do.
Jaquan Binion in for the Sabres. Brent Hatton will be checking in the next dead ball. He sits over by the scorer's table. White and Talbert going again near the basket. Talbert leaves it short, gets his own rebound, and puts it back in. Talbert now with 6 points. Him and Gowan the only two scorers for the Sabres. Collicott outside, Heller, Bishop Green. Looking for a lane to get through and gets it poked away. Akeemus Williams in transition. Wilson got up. Williams able to get the rebound. Sabres with a fresh 20 on the shot clock. Gowan over to the corner for Binion. He hits a three in front of the Cougars bench. And the Cougars call a timeout. The Sabres up 15-12 after the Jaquan Binion three-pointer. 13:05 remaining here in the first half. We'll come back with more action on the Cougar Sports Network. In front of the Sabres bench. That misses. The Cougars struggling from deep after a couple three-pointers early. They are now 2 for 8.
So that wasn't a bad look. Cougars able to draw everyone into the paint by mostly throwing every body they have into the paint and swing it out. Heller to hit the three.
And an and one from Wilson. Body control in the air after getting hit on the way up. Emmanuel Wilson heads to the free throw line for and one opportunity. Foul goes on number 24, Luke Rogers. Jordan Matthews comes back into the game for the Sabres. Charlie Mendes, as well as Josh Nicholas.
We're talking about Wilson, and that's somebody I think the Cougars want to see get going a little this game. Only 7 points in that matchup against IIT. Last Saturday, he's averaging 10.7 a game, so a little under his average. He's one of those bodies I want to see get scoring or alleviate some of the stress that they put on guys like Matthews.
Last 10-point game for Wilson was November 15th, where he dropped a season-high 18 points. He's been a little bit more quiet lately offensively for the Cougars, but again, he's still a role player as Charlie Mendes hits a three-pointer, his first points of the game. Collicott in the corner, looked for Matthews cutting in the paint. Wilson inside, stops on the block, and banks it in.
So I like Wilson being aggressive. That's something that maybe he's been missing from a couple of these Cougars, especially in that IIT game where the offense really struggled to get going until the second half.
Corner three, Nicholas misses. Matthews with the rebound.
It's a good close out there by Heller. Throw a hand up in Nicholas's face.
And body control from Kieran Heller. He had two Sabres soaring across his face. He was able to float it in. Kieran Heller, the junior from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin.
So it's usually not Heller's game. He's more of a three-point specialist, but maybe the defense wasn't expecting him to take it all the way.
Another three-pointer for Nicholas, back-to-back for the big man.
This is a Marian team. They average over 9 three-pointers made a game. Compare that to the Cougars, who are a little over 6 per game. This is a team who really likes that three-point ball and who's really good at it, too.
Brett Hatton one-on-one with Nicholas inside. Heller a three. He hits it.
That's the look right there for Heller. He barely even moved once he found his spot beyond the arc. Relied on Hatton to drive in, draw that defense to him before he kicked it out. Heller had that mostly open three, able to drain it.
Mendes with another three. 6 points now for Mendes.
The Cougars got to get a little tighter on their closeouts. They got to start contesting some of these threes.
A foul called on the Sabres, Jaquan Binion. And I guess when we go back to both of those three-pointers, look at the difference in style. The Sabres able to get that because of transition, an open look three for Mendes. On the other side, it was that extra pass that Heller got on his three-pointer that was able to create that separation, a nice assist from Brent Hatton.
Cougars really are a one more pass type of team. They're going to drive in. They're going to hope all those defenders in, and then kick it out to the corner or, to one of the top places above the arc for that three. While, like you said, Marian, they really are a rush offense. They come up, they find their spot from three, and as long as the defense isn't right there, they're taking it.
Marcus Jackson Jr. in for the Cougars. Matthews a three.
Nice play. Good job by Bishop Green there. Kind of set that screen on Nicholas, give Matthews all the time and space he needed.
Jordan Matthews now at 10 points of all Cougar players onto the court right now. He's the only one with points.
And I imagine this game means a lot to Matthews. Remember that last game in the semis last year, the team only lost by 3. Matthews missed a potential game-tying three in the last couple seconds. So, this one holds a little bit special meaning to number 12 in white.
And Bishop Green called for goaltending, so the basket is good for Josh Nicholas. Sabres lead by 1, under 10 to play here at the Ty Geisman Gymnasium. Last year, the Sabres took 2 of 3 from the Cougars. Trying to start off this season with a win on the road would be a big one. Brent Hatton fighting inside, reaching over Akeemus Williams.
Good recognition there from Hatton. He knew he had that size matchup on Akeemus Williams, who only stands at 5'9". So Hatton took him to the paint and went to work.
And Mendes can't be stopped from 3. 9 points for the senior. Perfect 3 for 3 from behind the three-point arc. And it forces another Cougars timeout. Sabres up 29-27. We'll have an in-game report from Parker Kelly when we come back. Broadcast booth, Carter Gledhill, Peter Borkowski with you. Let's send it down to our third team member, Parker Kelly, on the sideline with a game report. Parker, good insight there, and let's talk about that last play that forced a timeout for the Cougars. And Charlie Mendes right now, 3 for 3, 9 points from deep. And for Mendes, he's coming into today. He's only played in 4 games prior to today. He's not had a start. He gets the start today, and he's making the most of it for a guy that comes in averaging 6 points on the season.
Well, 50% from 3 was his average coming in today, and that's only going to go up since he's perfect right now. 6 for 12, so a small sample size, but like you said, Carter, he's getting more opportunities. And kind of like some of the freshmen we see with the Cougars, like Eli White, he's earning those opportunities, and he's making the most of it today, especially from beyond the arc against the Cougars.
Sabres drop into a 3-2 zone. Cougars moving the ball around the perimeter. Jackson Jr. picks up his dribble. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Step back. Bishop Green in the face of Nicholas.
So he had Greenlee coming over the top, driving to the basket. I thought that was going to be the look, but credit Bishop Green. He saw a shot that he liked, and he was able to convert on it.
Driving inside, Binion gets fouled and one. Marcus Jackson Jr. Little slow getting back over. Binion and I head to the free throw line. The junior from Chicago, Illinois, Kankakee High School.
A little bit of an overcorrection there from Jackson Jr. as he takes a seat on the bench now. Like you said, he was a little slow getting over, and then he really made up for it, basically landing on Binion. So Jackson Jr., a sophomore, getting some more chances to play this year, and like guys like White, he's learning too, so mistakes like that are going to be seen.
Manuel Wilson back in, and also first appearance for the freshman Carter Langendorf. Inside now, he goes toe-to-toe with Britton. Another three for Bishop Green. He leaves that short. Justin Greenlee there for the board. Wilson, a three.
Nice.
Cougars go back-to-back from deep on possessions.
Well, and we see the brilliance of having Greenlee at point guard in that point guard position. He's able to grab that rebound, immediately swing it out to Wilson beyond the arc. He knew where he was going exactly as he got that rebound. That's what led to that open three.
2-on-1 inside. Bishop Green misses. Looked like he was trying to set up Wilson for an alley-oop. The Cougars will pull it out.
I don't think Bishop Green was expecting to get that ball back.
Matthews a three. Misses. Ball still bouncing around. Britton with the rebound. Britton in this game, no points, no attempted shots either. Binion out. Pump fake by Nicolas. A three. Matthews with the rebound.
Cougars got to do something here. It's rare that we see Marian miss an open three like that.
Matthews inside with the soft touch and forces a timeout called by Drake Diener and the Sabres. The Cougars are going on a nice little run here. They are up by 3 with 7:16 remaining in the first half. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Not happy, almost punched the scorer's table. Showing emotion early, but it's been this run for the Cougars over the last couple possessions that has really put the pressure on Marian to make some adjustments.
We're really starting to see the Cougars' brand of basketball come through. I mean, credit both these teams. They're both playing great games right now. That's why we have such a tight contest still with 7 minutes left to go in the first, but Cougars are picking up the intensity a little. We're seeing what makes them so good, like those open kickouts to beyond the arc. We see Matthews just driving in, doing what he can do best. They're really starting to play to their identity.
Sabres trying to break the Cougars. Britton, long three, way short. That was the first shot of the day for him. Binion able to get the offensive rebound and put it back, so a second chance point for the Sabres. Those second chance opportunities Coach Kohler alludes to that you got to take it away from a team like Marian. They will capitalize on any chance you give them. Pulls Marian back within 1. Collicott, open look, 3 at the top, hits back iron, rebound by Bishop Green. Feeds it inside, Collicott was looking for Langendorf, but it bounces off one of the Sabres' feet. There was 2 Sabres in the area. It was Charlie Mendes as well as David Britton. It'll stay with the Cougars as Elijah White and Brent Hatton check back in. Carson Talbert will come in for the Sabres. He replaces David Britton. Britton, again, taking your first shot, trying to get on the scoreboard. But, again, that was a long-distance 3, and he misses. The Cougars are playing good defensive ball on the big-time player that they need to capitalize on. And Brent Hatton hits another 3. Hatton is now 1 for 3 from behind the three-point arc. The Cougars now 7 for 16. They've seemed to find their rhythm so far, both of these teams from deep. Mendes leading the offense right now for the Sabres. 9 points for him. Gowan has been quiet for a while. In the paint, looking for help. Gets it to Binion with White in his face. Buzzer sounds, but Gowan another offensive board. Spin around 3. Big time three-pointer for the Sabres.
The second chance scorers are, they're going in favor of both teams right now offensively. Both defenses got to do a better job cleaning up those defensive boards because mostly scoring chances are coming after the team grabs a rebound.
Jordan Matthews inside, 14 points for Matthews. Season high of 21 points came against Knox College earlier in the season. Hatton went up, maybe caused Gowan to second guess himself. Matthews a 3. Toilet bowls out. Collicott with the steal inside. Misses it. Gets his own rebound. Dumps it to Hatton, and he gets fouled. A steal from Jacob Collicott gave the Cougars another chance. Jaquan Binion picks up the foul.
It's a great effort there from Jacob Collicott. I think Coach Kohler used one of my favorite terms a couple weeks back when I talked about Collicott, which is that he's just a game wrecker. He comes in and he does so many little things, so many hustle plays like picking off that ball there, getting that ball to Hatton, who went up, got the foul. Collicott can just do all of this due to his athleticism. He really just throws a cog, he just throws a wrench, in the other team's, game plan.
Couple subs coming in for the Cougars, Justin Greenlee and Kieran Heller. Had an 84% free throw shooter on the season, missed the first attempt. And he goes 0 for 2 from the charity stripe. Cougars still up by 3, under 5 minutes to play here in the first half. Heller guarding Britton, picked up his dribble, still looking to get it away. He gives it up to Gowan. Gets it back, dumps it inside. Hatton with the block, but a foul is called on Talbert. Brent Hatton picks up his first personal foul, the team's third, and it sends Talbert to the free throw line.
Good defense up top by Collicott and Heller. Wanted to talk about that for a second. Be able to fight through all those screens that were trying to be set, and then just a bad break for Hatton down low. Went up to the block, ended up getting a hand, but looks like it paid out as all Talbert's going to be able to get now is 1 point after that first miss.
Bishop Green replaces White for the Cougars. Talbert, 62% free throw shooter on the season, goes 1 for 2, now has 7 points. One possession ball game. It's going to be like that if it shapes up to be what it was like in last year's semifinal game for quite some time here this afternoon. Cougars working around the perimeter. Hatton inside, has a lane. Talbert got a hand on it. Britton going the other way. Bishop Green trying to go for the steal. Gowan inside, Hatton there again. But Gowan able to float it in just higher than the hands of Hatton.
It's a little miscommunication there between Bishop Green and Collicott led to that open drive.
Collicott spinning around. Bunny hop, floats it up and in. What a shot from Jacob Collicott. He now has 4.
Collicott's one of these guys who he might have a slow start or a stretch where you don't really think he's doing much, but then he just absolutely catches fire, in all aspects of the game. And we're seeing that now. Good defense, good offensive rebounding, and able to get the tough score there.
Talbert with a nice turnaround hook shot on Hatton. Game all tied, 42 apiece. Collicott tries to go inside again. Sabres looking to score and take the lead for the first time in quite some time. Binion a 3 in front of the Cougars bench again. Perfect 2 for 2 from deep. Sabres now lead by 3. Greenlee slows down the offense for the Cougars. Inside to Hatton. Pump fake. Uses the glass. Brent Hatton now with 7.
That's a good response for the Cougars. That's going to be an important drive after Binion gives Marian the lead. Cougars needed a good response there, and they might still be trailing, but at least they get a couple points back out of it.
Foul is called on the Cougars. It'll go against Brent Hatton. Picks up his second personal foul, but talk about players stepping up. We know we've mentioned Charlie Mendes for the Sabres, but how about Jaquan Binion, as Binion, coming into today, has only scored in 2 games, and those were 2 points each. Right now, he has 11.
I almost feel like Marian's game plan was to not rely on Britton so much. We know the Cougars probably had him circled in the game plan due to what he did against St. Norbert with that season-high 29 points and what he did in the semifinals last game. So Marian decided to go away from Britton, get some other looks, and right now that's really what's beating the Cougars is Britton's still waiting for his first bucket of the night.
15 on the shot clock. Carter Langendorf inside, trying to hook his way around Talbert. Wilson, a 3, too strong. Langendorf running over, trying to keep it in. Slams the door in frustration. But again, it's those hustle plays for Coach Kohler that this team always preaches, they talk about, and you can see even just those loose balls, everybody wants that. The Cougars are very aggressive when it comes to a loose ball on the court.
This isn't a team who just relies on talent of the guys like Matthews and Kalikot. They're just such a hard-working, gritty team. They're going to grind out these wins. Yeah, they can play pretty, but they play dirty a lot of the time. They get those gritty balls. They get those hustle plays. That's what makes this team so dangerous.
Sabres almost had an open man in the block, but Britton was a little slow to try to get it in. He goes one-on-one with Greenlee. He got a finger on it.
Nice play by Greenlee. Good defense there.
Kalikot, baseline drive, flips it around. Matthews pulls it inside. Greenlee, hesitation. Langendorf, 3, just misses. Rebound by Gowan. The freshman getting his first chance at varsity minutes this year. We've seen him play a lot in JV games, and he's earning that opportunity just as Elijah White has so far, but not afraid to take those open looks. And he gets beat off the dribble by Gowan. That's what happens with a mismatch of a 5'11 guard going against a 6'7 forward.
Say Langendorf, he's doing well with his limited playing time so far this season, so far this game, but he's going to get beat like that. He's a freshman. He's going to get beat by those quicker players until he's able to get a little quicker himself.
Wilson inside. Good look from the wing from Greenlee. Cougars trail by 1. 9 seconds separating shot clock and game clock. Cougars trying to lock it up and get a chance to take the lead at half. Gowan inside, misses the layup. Shot clock is off, 20 seconds remaining in the half. Cougars will set up one final play.
Okay, slow it down, play your half-court game. Get that final shot, because right now the worst you're going to be is going into half down by just 1.
Greenlee spinning around inside, tries to go with the left hand, denied. Langendorf, a 3, open look. He airballs it, goes out of bounds, and the buzzer sounds. The Sabres able to claw their way back in the closing minutes of the first half to take a 1-point lead into the halftime break, up 47-46 over the Cougars. We'll have coverage of the first half and a breakdown of it after a quick halftime performance from the stunt and dance teams of CUC. We'll see you after the halftime break on the Cougar Sports Network. Welcome back to the halftime report inside of Geisman Gymnasium, where the Marian Sabres are up over the Concordia University Chicago Cougars by 1 point, 47-46. It was an exciting end to the half, Peter. We saw both these teams trading blows throughout those final possessions, but the difference maker in the first half, and we saw it against IIT for the Cougars, has been defending and shooting the three-pointer. The Cougars, 35% from deep in the first half. The Sabres, a whopping 64%. That's been the difference in a one-possession ball game.
And really the key to that has been Charlie Mendes for them. One of their players, 9 points, 3 for 3 from beyond the arc. He's shooting absolutely lights out like the rest of the team is. But, you know, that is just how these two teams play. Marian is a high-volume three-point shooting team. The Cougars just aren't. Those are the two styles colliding. That's why it's still a one-point game despite that vast difference in three-point shooting percentage. Someone else to look out for from the Sabres is Jaquan Binion. 11 points on the day. He's their second leading scorer. He's taking a big step up after being mostly quiet for the rest of the season. You know, this is all without David Britton even scoring a point yet.
And the thing is, too, Binion, that's a new career high we're talking about. Previously 2 points. He's done that a handful of times so far this season. Well, you mentioned it. Britton has been not a factor in today's game. The Cougars are really doing a good job of locking him down and forcing the Sabres to rely on other resources.
Right, but those other resources are stepping up, which is why they got that 1 point lead.
Well, the Cougars also are relying on Jordan Matthews heavily so far in this game. 14 points for the seniors. He also has 3 rebounds. And coming off a spectacular double-double performance against IIT, Matthews putting on a show right now, and a lot of the points for him has come inside. He's 2 for 5 from behind the three-point arc. But he's really been a good job of just, if you need the bucket, you need a good possession, get the ball to Matthews. The Cougars need to find other avenues to explore in order to get more points on the board.
Kind of like what we're seeing with Marian. David Britton isn't playing his best game, so they are relying on those other scorers. Luckily, Matthews is playing a good game, but you still need those other players to step up. Collicott's having a good game. Maybe we could see a bit of an explosion from him, guys like Brent Hatton, William Bishop Green, Emmanuel Wilson. They really need to start putting on those points if the Cougars want to pull away with this one, because right now it's a tight contest.
Well, Coach Kohler showed it in the first half. He is not afraid to go to his bench, and it might be some of those bench players for the Cougars that are going to need to step up in the second half. A one-possession ball game as we get ready to start the second half inside of Geisman Gymnasium between the Sabres and the Cougars. Start of the second half here in River Forest. The Sabres up by 1. Final 20 minutes to play in this game. It's been a lot of bench players for the Sabres that have been stepping up in the absence of scoring from leading scorer David Britton, who came into today's game averaging just over 17 points a game. He only took 2 shots in the first half. The Sabres trying to get him an open look, and they do on the first possession of the second half, and he misses.
Keeping Britton quiet is going to be a big key right now. Yeah, a lot of other Sabres are stepping up in his absence, but if you can keep him off the board, that's only going to serve you well. The last thing Cougars need right now is for him to get hot.
Hatton, low, misses. Rebound by Britton. Carson Talbert has been the big player for the Sabres in the paint that has shut down a lot of the paint offense for the Cougars. And now a turnover by David Britton. 10-second violation, bringing the ball up from the back court.
Well, we were talking about Talbert, and it's, he really shines when it is that settled low post possession, when guys are trying to post up and play bully ball with him. That's when he's his best. You got to get him moving. You got to use your speed to get around him. You can't rely on just trying to out-physical him.
Matthews one-on-one, step back jumper. Rattles in and out. He put a nice move on Josh Nicholas.
So he had the open look, just took a bad bounce off the inside of the rim.
Collicott poked it away from Gowan. Hits off of Hatton's foot before going out of bounds. Cougars forcing on the season just over 14 turnovers a game. Only 7 so far from the Sabres, but to that credit, the Cougars only with 1 in the first half.
So I think I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, this is just a good, efficient, fundamental basketball team in the Sabres. They like that three-point ball, but they aren't going to turn it over a lot, just like the Cougars aren't either.
Gowan with another bucket. He now has 15 in the game. Handoff, Hatton with a little screen. Wilson, 3. Hits the front of the rim. Hatton with an offensive rebound.
Say, nice look. I like Wilson coming off the Hatton screen. Hatton gives him the handoff immediately for that open look 3.
Tried to go back to it. Hatton will now pull up from deep and hits it.
Shot.
Nothing but net for Brent Hatton.
Yeah, that two-man game at the top of the key between Hatton and Wilson really coming in clutch right there for the Cougars. 2 players who can hit the 3 ball if they're giving that open look.
Hatton coming off of a season-low performance of 4 points against IIT. He was 1 for 7 from the field. So far, he's 4 for 9 with 10 points today. Gowan, long ball, hits off the left of the rim. Good possession for the Cougars defensively. Collicott inside, spinning around, fade away. Rebound by Britton.
Nice defense there in the post by Josh Nicholas. Just making Collicott, uncomfortable, forcing that tough shot.
Mendes gets it over to Gowan, now into the post for Talbert. Flips it across. Pump fake from Nicholas inside. Britton, another 3 look. He finally hits his first shot of the game.
Well, so we got to be careful. You can't let Britton get anything going.
And a nice move inside. Jordan Matthews. Able to speed up in transition.
When Matthews gets something going inside the paint, he's like a train. It's just so hard to slow him down. He's strong, he's physical, but he's also elusive with the ball and his footwork.
Matthews with 16 now after that last bucket. Talbert one-on-one with Hatton. Backs him down. Hatton reaches in. Hook shot for Talbert. He has 11.
They've been going to Talbert a lot today, both offensively and defensively. It's because the Cougars just don't have many players who can match up with them height-wise.
Collicott, he only has 4, dishes it out to Hatton. Back-to-back 3-point attempts for Hatton. Oof. Cashes in from deep. Now has 13. Brett Hatton back to his former self. Talbert trying to go inside again. What a move to get around Hatton, but a foul is called on the big man for the Cougars.
Well, he just drew the foul, but credit Brett Hatton. I said his name during the halftime recap that we needed him. The Cougars needed him to really step up. So he's done that so far, coming out hitting those 2 quick 3s.
So Hatton picks up his 3rd personal foul after he hit his 3rd 3-pointer. First free throw is good for Talbert. William Bishop Green comes in for Greenlee, and now we're seeing Liam Cameron, the 7-foot center, check in for the first time. He appeared against Carroll, was able to put up 2 points, and now he missed free throw as the big man tries to get on the scorebook. This could be a big game here for Cameron. Opportunity with Hatton going out with foul trouble. See what the big man can do inside the post.
It might be a little bit of an answer for Talbert, too.
Bang from Matthews. Jordan Matthews, nearing his season high of 21, now has 19 and a 3 answered by the Sabres. Cougars trying to push in transition. They do.
That's not Cougar basketball right there. You got to get back in transition. You can't be celebrating that 3-pointer for too long.
Collicott fires up a 3, rebound by Britton. Now has 6 rebounds. Able to score his first point on a 3 ball a couple possessions ago. And now a blocking call is called against Jacob Collicott. Picks up his second personal foul. Marcus Jackson Jr. will come in to replace Emmanuel Wilson. Cougars with 2 fouls so far here in the second half. And the Sabres without a team foul. Britton gives it back to Gowan inside. Backing down Jackson Jr. And now a jump ball called inside. Jordan Matthews able to wrap around and get in the pocket of Talbert. Possession favors the Cougars.
Great defensive possession there from CUC, just on the ball, literally right on top of it. Just putting that pressure, making Marian uncomfortable, and then eventually end with the wrap-up from Matthews. Force that jump ball. Give Cougars possession.
Sabres back in the 3-2 zone. Jackson Jr. pump fake baseline drive, goes up strong and is rewarded. Marcus Jackson Jr. has appeared in now 5 games this season. He gets his first points of the afternoon.
Jackson Jr. is a player I really like watching. He's kind of been on, he's gotten some JV time this year, so he's one of those kind of on the cusp players who's getting more and more opportunities this year.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Sabres looking for a shot. They have Gowan, and he answers the call. Gowan now with 18 points. Sabres lead by 2. Cougars working it around the perimeter. Jackson Jr. lucky that was not picked off. Collicott slow to shoot, now gives it off. Cameron, free throw line. It gets a lucky bounce from the rim and backboard. Liam Cameron with the bucket.
Since he came in, the Cougars really haven't used him. He's almost acting like a 7-foot obstacle on the paint, but they get him to move a little there. He's able to get that free throw line shot and put it away. Time to get him involved a little bit more in the offense.
Kick ball called on Jacob Collicott. Justin Greenlee will come in to replace number 14. And again, that's exactly what you do to put a big man in. Try to get him inside, and when everybody's so worried about the perimeter, and when you have a 7-footer that can shoot that well so far from the field, and he's proven it, it's a good sign for the Cougars as Marian now calls a timeout. 13:44 remaining in the second half. We're all squared up at 61 inside Geisman. Timeout called by the Sabres coach Drake Diener. Both teams with 4 remaining with 13:44 left in the second half. Tie ball game. Sabres with 20 on the shot clock. Gowan, the inbounder for the Sabres. CUC back in a zone. Active zone for both these two teams. CUC 1-3-1. Sabres 3-2. Charlie Mendes with his first miss from deep. Jackson Jr. hits it out of bounds. Possession will stay with Marian. Emmanuel Wilson comes in, replaces Jordan Matthews. Both these teams starting to pick up in a trend right now of shooting. CUC 5 of 6 for their last 6 field goal attempts. The Sabres 4 for 6 of their last 6. Perimeter movement for the Sabres. Driving inside is Gowan. Pump fake by Nicholas.
Good hands by Bishop Green. Disrupt Gowan a little.
Cameron went up for the block, and he stuffs Talbert in the face. The big 7-footer. Emmanuel Wilson other way. And a slam down from Cameron. Geisman in a frenzy. The Cougars back on top, 63-61.
That's what you call a two-way player right there.
Put it on the highlight reel. The freshman making noise.
Late getting home, but early for the poster. Whoa.
And a miss. Talbert inside, able to lay it in. Quiets Geisman just for a bit. Liam Cameron, the sophomore, I should say, the young player, starting to get more playing time.
Yeah, I think the Cougars, they're really optimistic in Cameron. I mean, how can you not be when you got a 7-footer on the roster?
Cameron inside, again, lays it in, back-to-back possessions. The big man.
There you go.
6 points for him.
Feed him the ball. That's got to be the game plan right now. They seem to not really go to him when he first checked into the game. Now he's kind of got some confidence under him. They're going to start hand him that ball in the post more often.
Good defense by Bishop Green. Slow-moving offense for the Sabres here in the second half. And a travel violation is called. Jaquan Binion a little too excited with the ball with an open look in the corner. Drake Diener does not like the call. He's looking for an explanation.
I thought that would be something called on Greenlee. I think Diener's trying to make the same case here.
Liam Cameron has been the feature of the offense for the last couple possessions. Standing on the left block right now, moving his way to the other side of the paint. Bishop Green gives it to him inside, 2 Sabres around. Cameron looking for some room, finds Wilson inside, floated up, no good. Cameron with the board, Cameron with the finish. Cameron with 8. Liam Cameron has come up big off the bench. We talked it at the halftime break. Kohler not afraid to go to it. And right now we're seeing Liam Cameron capitalize on the opportunity. Jacob Collicott pokes it away. Loose ball at half court. No jump ball has been called. Now it does. Possession will stay with Marian. But Geisman has been brought back to life by this Cougars defense. And offensively, Liam Cameron has led the charge.
Well, I think Coach Kohler got a little tired of being beat by Carson Talbert, especially in the post. He's just so hard to get around defensively. So Kohler pulls out the 7-footer off the bench, and it's playing to great effect here. I mean, Cameron, we didn't get to see him much last season in his freshman year, and he's only appeared in 2 games coming into today. But again, he's someone I think the Cougars coaching staff is super optimistic about. They want to get him those chances.
Binion with a move on Bishop Green. Nicholas, a 3 before the buzzer. 67-66, CUC leads with under 11 to play. Cameron in the post on Nicholas, and a foul is called. Liam Cameron had a career high of 19 points last year against Lakeland. And so far, he's setting a new season high here today with 8. As Jordan Matthews comes in to replace Justin Greenlee. 22 seconds on the shot clock.
It'll be interesting to see if Marian...
Bishop Green, top of the key, misses. Rebound by Wilson, floats it up. 1-2, bounces, and through the net. Marian trying to catch the Cougars in transition. CUC able to get back. Under the basket, Britton kicks it out. Nicholas, the number 3. Back-to-back for number 15.
Marian knows that paint play is almost going to be non-existent right now as long as Cameron's in the game and playing well, so they're going to have to look to that perimeter, and guys like Nicholas have stepped up.
3 from Wilson. Bang! Emmanuel Wilson. His second 3 of the game.
Great response there from Wilson.
Both these teams have their spark plugs offensively. For the Cougars, it's been a couple for them. Obviously Cameron as of late, but Wilson as well. Feeds it up. William
Nice
Bishop
pass.
Green, open court, and gets it poked away by Britton. Bishop Green had dunk on his mind. Binion over. A 3 now for Williams. That misses.
Great closeout there by Collicott. Binion was wide open in that corner, and Collicott was able to cover the distance.
Matthews a 3, front iron. Rebound by Britton. Now with 7 rebounds in the game, feeds it up. Williams in the corner, guarded by Bishop Green. Both these teams have duked it out here in the second half. The Cougars up by 3 after being trailing by 1 at half. Another way for the Cougars to try to get ahead has been the rebounding department in the second half, but a turnover by William Bishop Green. That's only the 3rd turnover of this game for the Cougars, and compared to the Sabres' 10, everybody's going to be taking a breather now. A timeout called by Marian. CUC up 72-69, 9:09 remaining in the second half. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Welcome back inside Geisman Gymnasium. Carter Gledhill, Peter Borkowski with you at the scorer's table. But let's send it down to Parker Kelly on the sideline with an in-game report.
The second half proved to be a lot better for the Cougars offense after that emphatic Liam Cameron dunk. Both teams are shooting well from the field. CUC shooting 58% from the field and 50% from 3, while the Sabres, on the other hand, are shooting 50% from the field and 50% from 3 as well. It should be an exciting finish. Back to you, Carter.
You bring up a very good point. As he mentioned, Peter, it's the Cougars' second half shooting that has been so well in this game that's really changed the course. I mean, under 40% from 3 so far in this game, but it's been the second half of 50% that's really turned the page for them. And although Coach Kohler says they don't like to live and die by the 3, this has been a game changer for them here in the second.
Sometimes you have to do that. I mean, especially when you got a team like Marian who is so good at the 3, again, averaging a little over 9 threes per game. You sometimes have to go to that 3 ball if you want to stay in the game. So the Cougars, they really are a second half team more times than not. And we're seeing that here again, especially shooting wise.
CUC back in the zone. Marian trying to break it.
Cameron's also off the court, so.
Little floater. Gowan misses. Wilson with the rebound. When you talk about it, Cameron off the court right now. He's played 7 minutes in this game, but that was a valuable 7 minutes off the bench for the 7-footer. It's weird how the 7's all aligned right now for Liam Cameron. So he gets replaced by Brett Hatton. CUC going for a smaller lineup here after the timeout. Wilson wrapping around, contested by Britton, but a strong finish for Emmanuel Wilson. He now has 17 points.
Well, ever since Cameron came in, the post play has been excellent for the Cougar. They're getting a lot of points in the paint and around the rim. Now Cameron's obviously out of the game. It's going to be interesting to see if that trend keeps up, but Wilson's bucket's anything to go by, it will.
A 3 from Nicolas. He hits it. He's got 3 in the half. Josh Nicolas, the senior, adds to his total now with 17. 1 possession ball game after that. Collicott faked the 3. Cougars moving it around the perimeter. Collicott floats it in the paint. Hits back iron. Rebound by Nicolas.
A little too hard there for Collicott. Things have slowed down a little bit since that frenzy from the Cougars when the gym was absolutely hopping.
Jordan Matthews in transition. Emmanuel Wilson pulls it back. Justin Greenlee tries to drive in, gets contact. Now a foul is called. Brent Hatton gets fouled on the ground. A foul is called on Akeemus Williams of Marian. That is his second personal foul. Carson Talbert comes back in. So now you see Drake Diener matching what the Cougars did. They take out Liam Cameron. Talbert was irrelevant kind of for those 7 minutes that Cameron was in. But now we see him put him back in. He has a little bit of a size advantage on Brent Hatton.
Well, again, I think Kohler's decision to use Cameron, which he hasn't done a lot this year, was largely to combat Talbert and the height advantage he presents for Marian. Now Cameron's on the bench getting a breather, see if he'll be able to come back in.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Greenlee drives. Back out. Wilson. 3. Bang! Emmanuel Wilson now with 20 points in the game. A new season high for the junior.
I think I said in the first half they needed a good game out of Wilson. He's been, quiet as of late, only scoring 7 against IIT. He's definitely responded well to that.
That last 3 from Wilson also ties a career high of 20 points against CUW last season on January 8th. Nicholas just outside the paint, rebound by Talbert. Fade away, hook shot, it's good. Now has 16 points and 9 rebounds. And also mentioned, too, now with 5 offensive boards. That last board puts him at 10, so a double-double for Talbert, the senior from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. 3-point lead for the Cougars. Matthews gets it back. Step back, wanted the 3, gives it to Hatton. He takes a shot at it. He hits it. Brent Hatton, 4 for 6 from long range today. A stingy Cougar zone defense has shut down Marian at times in this game. It's been momentum that's been the factor that's plagued Marian here in the second half. And they'll have to deal with Liam Cameron coming back off the bench, replacing Brent Hatton, William Bishop Green replacing Jacob Collicott. Another turnover by the Sabres. They now have 12 in the game. Bishop Green inside, stops in the paint, spin around, good move.
Oh,
what a move he put on Gowan.
Spinorama.
Bishop Green with 5 points. 82-74 lead for the Cougars. And another turnover by the Sabres.
So this is the most separation we've seen in a while from either of these two teams. Cougars, they take advantage of all these slip-ups and really build up that lead.
Cougars out to their largest lead of the game of 8 points. Sabres call a timeout, 5:14 remaining in the game. You're watching the Cougars Sports Network. Sabres left with 2 timeouts after the 30-second break taken by Coach Drake Diener. CUC out to their largest lead of the day. They've been on a little bit of a run here, 3 for 3 from the field in their last 3 possessions. And again, it's going to be interesting to see how the Sabres now match up with Liam Cameron back on the court, and I think that's part of the reason why we saw the Sabres take a timeout.
I think this is going to be a big moment in the game right now for both these teams. And the Sabres, they just do not go away, especially with that 3 ball. They can come back in a matter of a few shots. So Cougars, they cannot let up the gas at all right now. Keep building that lead. It's now we're in the final 5 minutes of the game.
Good defense from the Sabres. And Emmanuel Wilson inside. And with that finish, Emmanuel Wilson now has a new career high of 22 points.
Yeah, Wilson's really stepped up, especially in the second half right now. 12 points so far. And we still have 4:40 to go.
A lot of time for the Sabres to climb back into this one, and it's going to take that man right there, Josh Nicholas, who has been so good in the second half from deep, to keep him in this game.
Well, that's how they're going to beat having Cameron in, is you got to keep moving that ball. That was Cameron's closeout right there. Cameron's not one of the quickest players on the court, so you just got to beat him with that ball movement.
William Bishop Green with another basket, waved by to Tyler Gowan after he put a move on him. Cougars up by 9. Talbert, elbow, hits it. 18 points for Talbert.
So Marian's figuring out how to beat Cameron again. You see Talbert able to move in that space. He forces Cameron to have to close out. He's able to get that shot off before Cameron's able to.
Matthews a 3-2 strong. A rebound by Nicholas. Talbert, that last basket, ties a season high of 18. which he set against Carthage College in Game 2 of the season. Manuel Wilson with a rebound after the miss from Gowan. Cougars slow it down. 3:26 remaining in the game. This could be a big-time momentum shift in the Cougars season. Although they are 6-0, they are 3-0 in conference as well. You talk about a redemption game against a team that knocked you out of a championship game in last year's conference tournament in the semifinals. You know the Cougars want this one badly, and a foul is called on Josh Nicholas.
And, whoever comes out on top of this one, it's just been a great game all around. We knew it would be. 2 3-0 teams coming to play each other. It's a grudge match for the Cougars coming off that semifinals loss to this Marian squad last year. And both these teams have absolutely brought their A game. I wouldn't be surprised if the finish, we end up games a lot closer than the 7-point difference we have right now.
Greenlee inside, out to Matthews, 10 on the shot clock. Uses a screen. Spinning around, drives inside on Gowan, leaves it short, gets his own rebound, gets it picked away. Third rebound by Matthews. Out, and Hatton wisely saying to slow it down. That's a good move by Hatton.
Cougars can waste a little more time off the clock. I wouldn't have minded Hatton taking a shot there either. He had the open look.
A foul called on Josh Nicholas. He now has 4 fouls, 1 away from fouling out. And this is where you might see the Cougars have to rely on the free throw shooting. They're 3 for 5 in this game. They're 77% on the season, but again, close game. We know the Sabres can turn it around in terms of quick possessions and big-time shots in the half with 3-pointers. Be interesting to see what they do defensively down the stretch with 2:31 remaining.
Well, luckily, both foul numbers are pretty low right now, so teams have some wiggle room.
David Britton with only 3 points in this game gets the rebound. He's been a non-factor for the Sabres offense today. Gowan loses it, and then coming over the top is William Bishop Green. Some words exchanged between the two players. Looked like Bishop Green got the worst of it.
Yeah, I don't think he's having a fun time down there.
Bishop Green picks up his first personal foul. Now the third team foul. And Coach Kohler will call a timeout. A full timeout taken by the Cougars. They lead 86-79 with 2:14 remaining. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Charlie T. Cougar in the Christmas spirit, trying to hype up the crowd inside of Geisman Gymnasium as the Cougars are up 86-79 over the Sabres. CUC has been on a scoring drought of just over 2 minutes, and not something you want to see, especially in a tight game like this, where it's been one possession for the most part. The Cougars, though, have had a better momentum run in the second half. A couple sparks plugs coming off of the bench have led that charge, and now it's go time for the Sabres. Peter, what do they got to do here in the final 2:14 to try to make this a little closer?
Well, Sabres, when you rely so much on the three ball like they do, it is really easy to overcome these deficits, but it's also easy for those deficits to grow. If that three ball is falling, you're going to get back in this game within a matter of a couple shots. If it isn't, Cougars are going to be able to grow that lead.
Talbert in the post, looking for somewhere to go. Tried to go left. He still goes left and finishes with the right hand. New season high for Carson Talbert of 20 points. Under 2 to play inside Geisman. 5-point ball game.
Also interesting to note, Cougars took Cameron out again. Wasn't as effective in that second stint as he was in that first. I think Marian found some ways to get around him. So Cougars going to rely on their quick athletic ball that they're known for to close this one out.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Jordan Matthews with the ball. Now to Greenlee. Collicott somewhere to go. Behind the pack
Get a
to
shot.
Greenlee. A three. Oh, what a play from the Cougars. What a play from the Cougars. Justin Greenlee. It took him almost 38 minutes to finally get on the board, but he does with a three-pointer.
Greenlee does whatever it takes to win the game, even if he's not putting up a ton of points. He's doing so many other things, and then he'll get a big basket when needed, like right there.
Bishop Green had the board, was losing it towards the sideline, and then coming out of nowhere, Josh Nicholas, which we've seen so good in terms of loose ball and trying to play that. He comes around and hits it off of Bishop Green. 1:08 remaining in the game. Cougars up 89-81. Cougars with 3 timeouts, Sabres with 2. Skip pass over to Mendes. He's been quiet in this half. Nicholas with a missed 3. It hits off the shot clock. So 1:04 remaining in the game. Empty possessions cannot happen if you're the Cougars. You have to wind down as much time as possible. So Emmanuel Wilson coming on to replace William Bishop Green. And that's a free throw move right there because Bishop Green on the season 3 for 8 from the free throw line. Emmanuel Wilson coming into today 70%. So trying to get the better free throw shooters out on the court for the Cougars. It's Coach Kohler. 2-on-1. Jordan Matthews to Brent Hatton. And he gets fouled by Carson Talbert.
Say Marion's a little lucky. They have some fouls to give. Obviously, that was a shooting foul, but they have a little room to play with, but they cannot let, they need these Cougars to miss a couple of these free throws.
Hatton 0 for 2 in this game from the free throw line. Now 0 for 3. 62% career free throw shooter. Britton and Mendes come back in for the Sabres. So both teams playing a little game of chess with the final minute to play. Hatton leaves it short again. Fights for his own rebound. He gets it in a timeout taken by Kohler. That is a gift if I could have ever seen one. Christmas came early in that sense for the Cougars. Brent Hatton goes 0 for 2 from the free throw line and is able to get his own offensive board. Cougars burn a timeout with 57 seconds remaining in the game. Let's go back to that last play, Peter. Talk about the missed free throws from Brent Hatton. You said that's what the Sabres need. They need to get the Cougars to the free throw line, and hopefully they miss. They got that gift, but Brent Hatton gets the offensive board.
Again, this Cougars team is just such a hard-working team. They're going to win those hustle plays, and, Hatton kind of makes up for those missed free throws, getting that ball and then helping the Cougars get the time out. So this is a Cougars team that even when they do make slip-ups like missing some free throws, which you got to hit, especially in these late-game situations, they make up for it quick.
Nicholas with his 5th foul has now fouled out of the game. 20 points for number 15. Went 6 for 9 from behind the three-point arc. Also finishes the game with 6 rebounds. Manuel Wilson to inbound for the Cougars. That foul puts a fresh 30 seconds on the shot clock for CUC. Justin Greenlee in the trap, tries to go cross court. Lucky that wasn't picked off. Emmanuel Wilson now has it. 2 Sabres around him, and a foul is called. Foul called on Tyler Gowan. Gowan picks up his first personal foul. Cougars are in the bonus for the remainder of the game. 17 fouls by Marian.
Good job playing a little keep away there. Let the Cougars, let the clock wind down as much as possible before finally getting to the free throw line.
Wilson now 2 for 2 from free throws. And talk about the performance from him today. 23 points, now a new career high for the junior. Coming off of a 7-point game against the Scarlet Hawks to answer in this kind of way. Just shows how good of a player he is, able to respond He now has 24 and will come to the bench. William Bishop Green replaces him. And checking in for the Sabres is number 24, Luke Rogers.
Say Wilson's one of the more quiet players on this team. He doesn't, jump off the court like, someone like Jacob Collicott will, sometimes literally, but he's just so quietly good, so fundamental.
Mendes, who's been quiet in the second half, fires up a three and hits the court hard. He's fouled by Justin Greenlee.
See, Greenlee's still down.
Greenlee's still down. Gets some help from his teammates to get up, but he's not putting any weight on that left ankle.
So he's had some problems with it after that IIT game. Cougars played an exhibition match at UW Parkside this past Monday, and Greenlee sat that one out. So you got to hope that he didn't re-agitate that one too bad.
Manuel Wilson to replace him. Charlie Mendes at the free throw line. 3 free throws to come from him. He now reaches double digits with 10 points. And just to talk about what the Cougars have done, he had 9 points in the first half. That's his first point here in the second half. Mm-hmm. Now he's got 2 here in the second, but he's not been able to take those 3-point opportunities, those open looks. He was 3 for 3 in the first half. The Cougars definitely locking down the Sabres from deep here in the second half.
Well, that first half, second half, Sabres, they have taken more 3-pointers, but they just aren't as clean as they were in that first half. And something else to note is, close game, late game situation, David Britton isn't even on the court for the Sabres.
The leading scorer for the Sabres not out there. He only has 3 points, and now a foul is called. Jordan Matthews will head to the free throw line. So Jordan Matthews in this game with 19 points. At the halftime break, he had 14. But I guess the one thing that we've seen from Matthews in this game is the intention was on him in the first half. Mm-hmm. And then everything else has been around to the other Cougars players. And now a foul is called on Charlie Mendes as Emmanuel Wilson gets the offensive rebound off the missed free throw.
Marian's got to clean up these rebounds, especially off the free throws. We saw a couple plays ago with Hatton. He missed the 2 free throws, able to get the rebound, though. When you're trying to get back in a late game situation like that, you've got to collect those free throws, especially on these 1-and-1s.
CUC out-rebounding Marian 18-12 here in the second half. Manuel Wilson now just getting bonus opportunities to add to his career high. 26 points now for him. Kieran Heller comes off. William Bishop Green comes in. 30 seconds remain in this game. Shot clock still on. Binion out to the corner for Williams. He hits a 3. Shot clock is off. 23.4 seconds. Brent Hatton to Jordan Matthews. A 6-point ball game. Jordan Matthews will now have free throws. Foul goes against Jaquan Binion. Binion with 3 personal fouls, now 4 personal fouls. 3, just that. So after missing the last bonus opportunity, it's double bonus for Jordan Matthews. He hits the first free throw. 7 for 15 shooting-wise in this game. He now has 20 points. Gowan inside, trying to last layup. Bishop Green holds on to it. Jordan Matthews dribbling up, and he will dribble it out, trying to avoid Williams. And the Cougars pick up a huge conference victory over the Marian University Sabres, 95-87. A huge redemption game for the Cougars after they lost in the semifinals of the NAC tournament last year, 52-49. And right now, this Cougars team has one thing on their mind, and that's taking revenge on everybody in the NAC. They now improve to 7-0 on the season, 4-0 in conference play.
It's a big win for the Cougars. Obviously, there was the grudge aspect of after Marian knocking out the number 1 seed Cougars in last year's playoffs. Now they come back, they get the win here. and then they're able to stay undefeated in conference, and that's really what matters right now in the season is they're now #1 at top solely record-wise at 4-0.
And again, we're going to send it down to Parker Kelly in a minute to talk with Coach Kohler in our post-game recap in the interview with the coach. But this was a slow start to the game. But as soon as the Cougars were able to get in a rhythm, they were able to start scoring more points. And just the performances throughout the board for CUC. Manuel Wilson leading the way for the Cougars with 26, Jordan Matthews with 21, and Brett Hatton with 16. That was a huge offensive showing for the Cougars in the second half, and it really helped them get ahead.
It was such a good second half. This is a really big second half team. They always play well come second half time. So they really picked things up offensively, and they really started playing their game. Again, this is two teams who are very set in how they play. Marian likes those three-pointers. Cougars are fast. They're athletic. They get those transition opportunities. We saw those two styles really go at each other tonight. Cougars executed better. They came out on top because of it.
Well, as we get set up for the coach's interview, let's get ready to send it down to Parker Kelly with Coach Steve Kohler following another big conference victory.
How do you describe the rest of the success so far this season? Well, Coach Kohler, it was a great win for your squad today.
Yeah.
This is your best start in your tenure here as head coach after moving to 7-0 overall and 4-0 in the conference play.
Yep.
How would you describe the recipe to success so far this season?
Yeah, it starts and ends on the defensive end. You know, we felt like in the first half, they had, still finished with 87, but they had like 50 points. They were doing anything they wanted to do. They were comfortable, and we take pride in nobody being comfortable. But give them credit because they were able to do whatever they wanted to do. And we challenged our guys. In the second half, we picked it up defensively, and that got us going.
Well, you had 3 players in double figures. Emmanuel Wilson led all scorers with 26. He was great this afternoon. How would you describe how important he's been to the team's success so far this season?
Yeah, he's been awesome. He's a captain. We've just been talking to him. He hasn't been shooting it well, and he said he's been thinking about that too much. I didn't look at it. I think he shot it pretty well tonight. But we said, don't worry about that. Just do the other things. Get on the glass, get to the paint, impact the game in other ways. But when he's able to make shots, he's one of our most dynamic scorers.
And your team has a little bit of rest before traveling to Lisle, Illinois next Saturday to take on Benedictine University. And their team is kind of struggling a little bit. How do you plan on keeping up your current momentum that you currently have?
Yeah, it's irrelevant what they're doing. We're really just focused on us. It's the next challenge for us. We have finals coming up, and that brings its own challenges. It's a different schedule. You don't have as many practices. You have to make sure that you're locked in on the academic side, and then when it's time to practice, you're ready to go.
Well, thank you for your time, Coach, and congrats on the win today. Thank you all who tuned in online.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yes, sir.
I just want to say, because I think the guys listen to this stuff, Liam came in today off the bench and totally changed the flow of this game. Last time against IIT, Easy came in. Our guys are staying ready to play, and when they come in, they're making a huge impact, and we're seeing the results on the floor. So that's a testament to our entire group. I just wanted to say that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time, Coach, and congrats on the win today.
Appreciate
and thank you for everyone who tuned in on the broadcast today. Make sure to check out the women's team as they take on the Marian University Sabres at 4:15. This is Parker Kelly signing off from the Cougar Sports Network.
For tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.